I want the bets from Betting Weekly, because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet Rivers sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome along to Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Jack Wright. On the agenda today, we are talking soccer, big games across the big leagues in Europe. A little bit of an extra bonus because Le Classique has been kicked over to Monday because of bad weather in the south of France yesterday, which gives us the opportunity for myself and Jack to talk about it. Otherwise, Jack, we were dipping down to this Segunda and further. How was your weekend? I've got to tell everyone that Jack was texting me throughout the Norwich game as the goals were going in. Did you disappear before the end, Jack? How are you?
we just fell one short. Great greetings, Dan. It's great to be back. It's like Groundhog Day, and it's nice to kind of bookend the weekend. And greetings to everyone else in the chat. Nice to have you on board. It went as planned, really, that game, to be fair. Goals galore. And it summed it up that our goalkeeper, Norwich's goalkeeper, was man of the match for Norwich anyway. Wrexham could have covered that line I mentioned on their own. So, unlucky not to get that 5.5. But that was a bit of the story of Saturday, really. We certainly hit the bar in more ways than one.
Yeah, we did. Just going to list some big bets that we had over the course of the weekend before we get stuck into some bits and pieces. And one of them is going to hurt a little bit. This is the Liverpool game. Well, it's going to hurt a lot for this particular bettor. We had a $100,000 play on the over 3.5 goal line in the Merseyside derby, which was a loser. I think, was in play because it was minus 172. So obviously there were some early goals to Liverpool. And in the end, it was only the 3. I looked at the XG after the game, Jack. I think it was 1.6 combined XG. You were on the 3. Nigel was on the 3. It's been frustrating for us, hasn't it? The Premier League show, but I think we're getting it right, but wrong.
Yeah,
if you see what I mean.
We're dancing all around it, I think, aren't we? I mean, we're not ones to make excuses. We hold our hands up, don't we? We're not one of those type of people. We hold our hands up and go, "Oh, we got that one really wrong," or "That was one of the worst bets ever." But we're generally sort of dancing all around the right bets. We're picking the wrong ones to put forward officially. Like you said, that Lacroix one hit the bar. Goalkeeper sent off after 5 minutes, and it's we only need a shot on target, didn't we? Keeper gets a finger on it, that's a winner. Hits the underside of the bar and goes in, that's a winner. And it's square on it and bounced out. But got Chelsea, obviously, goalkeeper getting sent off after 5 minutes, pretty much kills that bet as well, which is the 2 units. And we're kind of just putting the wrong ones forward, really. But we'll get it right. We keep saying it, but we will.
Yeah, look. Every single one of the plays I thought was a good play, and if they were all happening this weekend, I think we'd have them again. And look, I think it's challenging at the minute. There were some good winners around the Bet Rivers customers. Liverpool on the money line at minus 223, $78,000 play was a winner. We had Spurs against Brighton over 3.5 minus 182. That was in play. $56,000 play, which was a winner. Lazio over 0.5 total goals minus 135, which is a loser. That was going to hurt in the Derby della Capitale. We're on Roma long term. A lot of us on the show. Yeah, $50,000 play Chelsea on the money line plus 148, which is a loser, obviously, and $40,000 play Tottenham live second half only money line at plus 125, which was a loser. I was a bit gutted that Spurs came back on that one. I've got Brighton in 1 and 2, so like top 6, top 8 spreads as well, which is a bit frustrating. On the comments so far today, Duncan says afternoon to Duncan, and to Ming, and to A, and to the real Brendan King, who says Paris Saint-Germain, easy win. A says decent weekend. I got Fulham both teams to score. Arsenal City draw. That was a late one. Barca win to 0, although Chelsea was a bad one. Player Camp HD. Hey guys, Russ M says Marseille plus half a goal.
Here we go.
Paris Saint-Germain, multiple players out today. This is true. Obviously, this is a game that's held over. We're going to talk about it first. But we're going to just reflect on some Premier League prices as they are at the moment. But yeah, I did sort of text James and Steve, our French football experts, about the game. I'll let you know what they said. They had thoughts ahead of the weekend, but now it's been moved a day. Does that muddy the waters a little bit in terms of getting with Marseille or PSG? Ming says, does the Marseille match being rescheduled give them more of a chance? Steve says it helps them. That was the last text that he gave me a few hours ago. I don't know how much. Just before we get into that, a look at the Premier League prices, Jack. Just before we came on air, you were suggesting that Liverpool at minus 112, they should be a little bit short. Are they a bit? I mean, you tipped them at the start of the season, didn't you? Are they a bit of value now still?
Out of everything I've seen, look, we're still taking the fact that Liverpool haven't really slipped into gear yet they've 100% record. They've got the strength in depth to, obviously Salah's off to AFCON. They've got what they wanted in Isak coming in now. He's not featured for them at all yet, really, has he, other than the odd minutes here and there. But I mean, like, he's not ready to roll yet, and they've got that up their sleeve. I just think they've got so much to offer, and these other sides around them, look, I'm still not convinced by City. If there's an injury to Haaland, they're in all kinds of bother, I think. Not wishing that on him, of course. Minus 177 to be the Golden Boot winner. But Arsenal, we've still got that inferiority complex, which we saw rear its ugly head yesterday. And Chelsea, well, we saw that, and we saw Maresca just seemed to panic, didn't he? And like was making all kind. It was like he was pulling decisions out of a hat at the weekend. It was all over the place, and obviously Cole Palmer's a issue for them. He obviously has some kind of injury that is refusing to go away. And then I think you draw a line under every single side underneath them, certainly. In fact, I draw a line under everyone under Manchester City personally. But yeah, I think for me, I cannot see anything other than a Liverpool title defence, successful one.
It's seemingly that way very early on. I know we've got a long way to go, but it feels like last season already with other teams dropping points early.
Yeah.
And Liverpool just winning. But look, we'll see how we go. A minus 112 in the minute. If you're a Liverpool better, let us know if you think there's a value elsewhere. Just one other takeaway I thought from the weekend, Jack. Have you ever seen Pep Guardiola park the bus like he attempted to do yesterday? And just from a betting standpoint here, if he decides to do that away at Liverpool, away at Chelsea, where he plays pretty defensively, allows the opposition to have the ball, but then when he gets ahead, he's taking off Haaland, he's taking off Foden, he's putting on defensive-minded plays, he goes to a back five. Is there an angle in play for unders, for both teams to score no, or for no more City goals? Do you know what I mean? Are we seeing something different with Pep that bettors can maybe pick up upon?
Yeah, well, without blowing my own trumpet after the event, but I've had rare opportunity to do that so far this season. I did fade City at 1.3 on the exchanges yesterday when they just were obviously looking to do that. And I looked like I was going to lose, obviously, right up until that fantastic finish from Martinelli. But I just felt City aren't used to that. They're not used to backs to the wall, 30% possession, wave after wave after wave of attack. And you look at what Arsenal had on the pitch, Eze, Saka, Martinelli coming on. I was screaming for him to come on. Like Trossard, that constant chop back inside was very frustrating. You're obviously at the game, commentating on the game, and I don't know what your general thoughts on it and your co-commentary team were thoughts on it, but it looked like it was there for the taking for Arsenal. I was frustrated with them as far as I think a lot of has been made of the fact that they played with a handbrake on first half, and Arteta, will he learn from that mistake? I don't know. He's done it so many times now. It was very frustrating that they effectively only had to go really in the second half and battered Manchester City for that second 45. I said, oh, they won't be giving Haaland the freedom of the half. That was my famous words from the show. We saw it against Man United. He won't be getting that kind of freedom. He has got that kind of freedom, yeah. And he's scored an identical goal.
Yeah. It was frustrating, I think, from an Arsenal point of view. Mikel Arteta was relatively defensive, wasn't he, after the game? But look, second half, he makes those changes at halftime, which is something he used to do right at the start of his tenure, and then he sort of stopped doing it. But bringing on Eze, taking off Marino, the changes he made. I thought Madueke was desperately unlucky to come off because I thought he was brilliant in the first half. But obviously, to get Saka in play is an interesting one. What have we got in terms of comments here? Fox V says, Liverpool, the last team to have this big a lead the Premier League at this stage of the season. They went on to win it. That was 6 seasons ago. Yeah, they didn't have as much of a lead last term, for sure. And Fox V says, Dan and Jack on a Monday, was my calendar broken? No, we were on Friday. We're back again. Nigel loves us. Duncan says, lump on Wickham to beat Wigan tomorrow in the League Cup. Steve will be in collar for that one. The Blue Brazil are back. Byron says it's so simple. 4-2-3-1, Eze in the 10, Rice back to 6, Zubi in the 8, and this team rolls. Rice is not an 8. That's how Byron would play.
Sounds like he's starting a chant there.
Yeah, it's a bit, isn't it? Claudio S says the English Premiership show has a very poor start here. Don't remind us, Claudio. But the rest, look, the European show's in profit. And if you played all the Jacks Leans this season, you're in profit. And if you were with us for the live shows last week, every single midweek day, 11 a.m. Eastern, Claudio, if you're new to the show, the boys were crushing it last week. So we can promise you winners. Just not sure if they're going to come today. No, they will come today.
Yeah, mate. Hopefully they'll come today as well. It's in my pre-season warm-up. But I think now you mentioned it at the top, and I'll be very quick with it. But I obviously revisit all my bets from the weekend, and I go, would I play them again? And I would generally. I thought there was reasons, like everything fell into place for that West Ham game that we talked about. Mateta scored a header. He hit the crossbar with a header. It was headers going all left and centre. That was the main area of weakness for them. The Chelsea red card. We had kind of circumstances around most of those bets again, and you go, right bet, wrong outcome, and you have to move on. And we're getting a lot of that at the moment. And we'll look forward to some variants kicking in very soon.
Yeah, come on, a little bit of regression to the mean. We go up, not down. Look, today's a new week. You wipe your mouth, you move on, you re-engage, you assess, and we'll see if we can start finding some winners. Look, I'm sure you guys have got your own thoughts on the big game today, and it's a real pleasure to have Marseille Paris Saint-Germain on Monday as well, because it was meant to be yesterday. Le Classique, as it's known, the big rivalry, of course, in France. This is an interesting one. It is live on the BetRivers app. And the BetRivers website. If you've got an account, you can watch this one. Marseille are plus 320 here. Paris Saint-Germain are minus 130. And the tie plus 300. A lot of you giving your thoughts on this one. Ross says Marseille plus a half PSG, multiple players out. Mentioned that before. Ming talking about does the rescheduled nature of this game give Marseille a better chance. Peter saying PSG missing João Neves and Bradley Barcola on top of Doué and Dembele. If Marseille don't get a result now against Paris Saint-Germain, when will they get a result? They haven't won at home in the league against Paris Saint-Germain for 14 years. Humble Leviathan says, is this over 2.5 and both teams to score? Seems like a free bet. What else have we got here? Duncan says, is Barcola out tonight? I'll follow James Easton by backing his over 1.5 shot on target. Yeah, he put that up last week. Barcola, I think, has got a muscle injury. I think he's going to be on the bench. Barcola out, says Peter. The weird thing is that James told me that Paris Saint-Germain, they were obviously in Marseille for this game yesterday. They flew back to Paris, and then they've come back again today to, that's just what I guess football teams do. So their preparation has been unusual, to say the least here. Jack, give us your thoughts on this one. What do we think? Marseille, PSG. I mean, I've got a few thoughts myself, but I think it's a difficult one, not least because of the preparation for both sides. The pitch, I presume, is going to be heavy because there's been an awful lot of rain in the southern part of France. Pick us out some plays, Lings. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I'm glad our rain dance over the weekend worked wonders so that we get to talk about this game on a Monday, as you say, rather than delving into the depths. So this is quite a very exciting one to be talking about. I'm sure virtually everyone in this chat has done already, but if you haven't, do make sure you get onto the Extra Time show to check out the legends of the league, Steve and James. and Dan, who will go through everything you need to know about this game. They're the experts, obviously. So I've listened to it to get me, again, take something on board from it as well. So I'm influenced by those guys. But there is a difference of opinion, and there's a slight split between the two. And it's very interesting that on that show, without giving anything more away, Steve was saying that about Marseille being plus 300, and they weren't, were they? But they have gone to 300 and now gone past that to plus 320. And that is the reason I'm taking them on a plus handicap tonight. I think they've now become value. Look, it's PSG. We know what that means. Very, very tough. They've got a terrible record against them, of course, as virtually everyone in France has, or everyone in Europe has at the moment. But I think plus 0.75 Asian handicap there at minus 121 has just got to be the value play of the night. As you say, the disruptions, the disturbance to PSG, they've had a complete and utter rip up of what their preparation and plans are going to be. As you say, flown back to Paris, fly back to Marseille today. That's not ideal. Injuries, as you talked about already. There's obviously the kind of Ballon d'Or going on tonight as well, which is something that a few of their players obviously would have been at. That's got to be a little bit on their mind, to a certain degree. And I think you've got to put also into that. This is not all just about the fact that PSG have had a tough kind of build up to this. Marseille are a good side. They're very strong at home. They finished second in the league behind PSG last season. Very unlucky against Real Madrid. That penalty decision was, well, as Roberto De Zerbi described it, embarrassing. Exactly. And, you look at their record at home, they've won the last 6. They've scored 3 or more goals in all of those games. They've won 9 of the last 10 Ligue 1 games on home soil and scored 35 goals in the process. Yes, this is PSG, so it is a lot tougher. But that confidence, and I think the people have said, I don't know who it was who said in the chat there, if they don't beat PSG now, when will they? And they've got to have that same kind of mindset. They're going, we've got a brilliant chance here tonight. Let's go at them. Let's get stuck into them, and let's get a positive result. And if they avoid defeat, we obviously cash the full ticket here. If they lose by a single goal, we only lose half our stake. I think that's got to be the value play in this one.
Effie says under 3 goals at Marseille. Steve on the newsletter went over 3 Asian goals. Now, Steve is logging in. I don't know if Steve would still go for that, knowing of all the rain and so on and so forth. It's a difficult one, isn't it? You always tend to think unders when there's been a lot of rain, a lot of wind, bad weather. You tend to go unders. Just to reiterate what a lot of people have said already, Dembele is going to be at the awards night. He was never going to play, but other players aren't going to be there. So, that might just be, as Jack was pointing out, a little bit of a dig in the ribs to players who might have half an ear on the Ballon d'Or ceremony. I mean, Dembele was around about minus 500 to win it. I know that on Twitter today, there was 1 or 2 people suggesting that Lamine Yamal might nick it. Don't think he's going to, but you never know. So it means that it's probably going to be Ramos, Lee Kang-in and Kvaratskhelia as the forward 3. That's a downgrade. That's not the trio that took them to the Champions League last season. And I tend to think that you're right. I mean, you just want to get with Marseille somehow, don't you? And that sort of, half goal, I think I'd play that as well. It's a difficult one to know. I mean,
we always talk about playing the value, don't we? It's not necessarily we go, oh, we think Marseille are going to win this. Like, we think they've got a good chance. You come down to the point that you always bet the value, and you do that over a long enough period of time, you will come out on top. And I just can't think of anything other than the fact that Marseille have become value in this. You, like I said, when you asked the lads on Thursday, Friday last week, when the market's completely different, that's a different kind of scenario. As it sits here right now, Marseille have to be the value.
Steve says, no, I'm not taking the overs now. So that's just an update from Steve. Prop bet, the one player I looked at for a prop bet tonight was Vitinha shot on target. And at the time of me looking at this, I was looking at a different site other than Bet Rivers. So let me just see if I can get it up now, because he was a plus 300 shot elsewhere. I don't know if that is still available for Vitinha. I'll go through the stats in just a second. Let's see if I can pull up his price. Oh,
plus 170.
Sorry. He was plus 200. He was plus 200.
Yeah.
He was 3 decimal odds. He's plus 170 over. Got shot on target first 2 games of the season, none since, but 10 shots all told in 5 games in all competitions. He started 20 League One games last season. When he started, he had a shot on target in 8 of those 20, which is around about plus 150. Well, he is plus 150. So plus 170, you're nicking a little bit of value. And I just wonder if Marseille have the same sort of tactics employed tonight as they did against Real Madrid. They didn't sit back against Real Madrid, but it might feel and look like the similar type of game. And Tchouameni is a defensive midfielder. He had a shot on target. Vitinha might have a little more of the ball in advanced areas. That was a very minor lean, I think, for me, if you want a prop with Vitinha. Did you look at any props at all, Jack, or not?
It's a player of...
we don't know who's going to start, really.
No, that's right. This is a player that I don't know if will start. I backed him last time out and he was on the bench. It's Roebuck, who's been popping up with shots quite a lot. And again, one of those, sometimes I like when a side's up against a stronger favourite, is those players running from deep and then having the strikes from distance. And that's something he's been pretty consistent with at the very early stages of this season. So you can get him on over 1.5 shots. And I've just moved off that market. And he is... Where has he gone? There he is. He's plus 180 for over 1.5 shots. And again, to reiterate, they could go anywhere.
Not shot on target. That's shots.
Yeah. And
it's a tricky one.
I was going to say Mason Greenwood's obviously popping shots off left, right, and centre. You aren't going to be getting him over 2.5 minus 121 very often this season at home. So you might want to maybe take advantage of that. That's one that he'll look to obviously shine tonight.
Peter says draw or Marseille. It's a little same game part of this. Peter says draw or Marseille and Greenwood over 0.5 shots on target plus 140. Don't mind that one. Byron says under 3 is minus 113. Barak goes Kvara over 3.5 shots. So that's shots, not shots on target, plus 163. Got to be the value since he'll be the main man up front. Barclay market still there, so not accounted for. Yeah, potentially. Byron agreeing with that. Hakimi's been a sort of favourite of ours over the last year or two. Yeah. Plus 155 over 1.5 shots for Hakimi. Yeah, difficult one on the props. I might play Vitinha. Best bet SW. Best bet, are we going to play Marseille on the Asian line, Jack? Is that our best play for this?
That's the only one I've had money on, yeah.
There we go. I can tell you that 98% of the money, 95% of the tickets have gone on PSG. 78% of the money, 89% of the tickets on overs. PSG has won each of his last 7 Ligue 1 matches against Marseille. I mean, they've got an unbelievable record, but with all the injuries, with a rescheduling, with a heavy pitch, packed velodrome, then potentially Marseille can do something for us. It is streamed live on the BetRivers app, as is Millwall Watford, which we're going to get to shortly. Burgos Granada in La Liga 2 Segunda. Sporting against Moreiense is as well. We're going to talk about shortly. Galatasary Konyaspor is streamed live as well. Jack's got a little play in that. I've got the word from Steve on the 2 games in Sweden tonight as well. They are also streamed live on the site. So lots of picks and plays. We thought we'd just dwell on that Marseille game first and foremost. Minus 121, 3/4 of a goal, not too shabby, says Byron. No. So that's
just the last one. One thing I said I was going to mention. We won't dwell on it because of the fact that not everyone can get on it, but we did.
Go on.
Yeah, we're just going to say about the referee tonight is the same referee that was in 2020. When there was only 5,000 people allowed in the stadium. It'll be a little bit more noisy than that tonight, but he sent 5 off on that occasion. Depends how you cut it and dice it. It was like 14 yellow cards, but there was a few of them that were 2 yellows to make a red. But bottom line is there was 5 sent off. And then there's been a red card in 6 of the last 12 meetings between these two. So Steve's already mentioned it. Keep 11 men on the pitch for Marseille and then with a chance. But he knows that is not 100% guaranteed. Be interesting to see how it goes, especially with the pitch as it is as well. We could see some slipping and sliding.
Just a reminder about the newsletter. If you like what you hear on our show, sign up for our newsletter. If you haven't already, get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine. Sign up for free. bettingweeklystudios.com. Don't forget about our Soccer Profit Boost Pack as well. If you log into your BetRivers app or your BetRivers.com account, you will each week receive a Soccer Profit Boost Pack consisting of a live bet profit boost and a parlay profit boost as well. Check out the app or the website for full details. Let's crack on with some more picks and plays regarding today's games. We're going to take in Napoli Pisa next. For me, I've got the best player of the night in this one. It is similar
Oh.
to Jack's, but not the same. Napoli are minus 335 here. Pisa are 10-1. Napoli have got the opportunity to go to the top of the table. Juve's 100% winning record went at the weekend. This one's for James, if he's watching. I did warn you, James. Napoli short price favourites here, as we say. Joint best defensive record this season, best defensive record when winning the title last term. Pisa's expected goals this season, 1.7. It is the lowest in Serie A. It's a little bit disingenuous because I'm looking at a table now, and obviously other teams have played more games, but just 7 shots on target in 3 games. It's a pitiful amount, and they just cannot score, Pisa. They drew 1-1 with Atalanta on match day 1. That was an own goal. They drew 0-0 in the Coppa Italia with Cesena. They won on penalties. They were beaten at home by Roma and Udinese. I cannot see them scoring against the champions here. And Napoli to win 2-0, minus 118 when I looked. Even if it's a bit shorter, I will take that all day long. I think it's a cracking bet tonight. Napoli to win 2-0. Can't understand why it's that sort of price. Pisa cannot score. Jack, what have you got for us in this one?
Yeah, on a similar theme, that is a cracking bet. I was just quickly checking to see what that price was actually, but I've gone with we've talked about this, didn't we? Different ways to attack these very, very strong favourites, and win to nil's a popular one. And we've said before that the half-time, full-time result is sometimes a little bit overlooked. And we've been looking at it a lot, actually, over the last couple of weeks, though. And it's what I've gone for here. Napoli to be winning at half-time and then to be winning at full-time, minus 109. So similar price, fraction better. They've been excellent at the start of the season. 3 straight wins, of course. Lost to Manchester City in the Champions League, but of course that really early red card completely skewed that. So that is one I'd certainly draw a line for and rip it up, throw it in the bin. Longest unbeaten streak in Europe's top 5 leagues as well. 15 Serie A matches without defeat, winning 10 of those. And if we're looking at really fantastic stats that we trot out when they mean absolutely nothing, the fact that Pisa haven't won a Serie A game for 34 years. It's a long, it's a drought. It's a long run.
How many have they played?
First season back, isn't it? So, yeah, but Napoli are super strong at home, aren't they? Unbeaten in 12 Serie A home games now, 9 wins in that run of time, but they keep clean sheets. You've already said about it, so that's the strong point for that win to 0. 6 clean sheets in that period of time. But this bet's cashed in 2 of their opening 3 games as well. So again, we talked about Porto on Friday, a very similar scenario, minus $3 favourite. They were expected to come out the traps quick. They were 2-0 up at half time. That bet never looked like them being in doubt. They went and added a third in the second half. It was game over. And we cashed it with ease and we got much better. We got plus money, didn't we, on that occasion? So it's just a fraction of minus money this time, but it's for all the same reasons. The Napoli squad depth, the firepower that they've got. Rasmus Højlund's in there now. He's obviously a great thing for him to score on his debut. We all know about Scott McTominay and how he's performed there, player of the season in Serie A last season. Expect Napoli to completely dominate this game. I expect them to get their noses in front, or even better in the first half. And if that happens, then I can only see one outcome come 90 minutes. So yeah, for me, that will be the way it goes. So I think we can both cash this one. I like your bet a lot. And Duncan's already said, look, he's ditched Nigel's 0-0 detective and he's brought out the Dan Roebuck better than night alert. I like it.
There you go. Look, just to emphasise as well, if you were looking at some of the stats here, 9 from 19 home games last season, Napoli 1-0. 1 from 1 this season at home. So that's 10 from 20. It's even money. Now, it's minus money the place. You think, well, that's not really a value bet. You really need it a little bit bigger than that. But against the 7 teams that finished in the bottom last season, 6 of the 7 they won 2-0. Everything points to win 2-0. Lukaku is out, we know, but Højlund and Luka will probably come in, one of those two. Jack likes half-time, full-time. I'm going to play 2-0. James, incidentally, on the Euro show last week, went minus 1.5 Asian line for Napoli. Thinks they're going to win big. And he also looked at Højlund to score at any time, McTominay as well. Most of the money has come on Napoli. 61% of the money on under, 61% of the tickets on over. So the shrewd money is on under. And most of the smaller bets are on The over. That's an interesting one. What have we got here? A says already played Napoli to nil. Russ says Napoli moneyline both teams score no. Same thing. Effie says Napoli moneyline under 3.5 goals. Total line is fishy. Ming says could Pisa be a play to finish bottom? Potentially. Fox Free says anyone fancy De Bruyne to score or assist? It was interesting when who was sent off? Was it De Lorenzo that got sent off?
Yeah.
De Bruyne was withdrawn 5 minutes later, so he will be fit and firing for absolute sure on that. I couldn't put anyone off that because he's going to feel a bit aggrieved to be taken off. Not his fault, of course.
Yeah.
Oggy says, I cashed same game parlay in the Palace match. Mateta, anytime scores, so Laquata have a shot. I know you tipped him for a shot on target, Jack. Any thoughts on the props there? We'll get to the Millwall game in a sec if you're looking for one on the English game tonight. Hakimi on Mendes. Hakimi and Mendes, yeah, we talked about. I mean, I quite like Vitinha. He's on pens as well, Vitinha. Don't forget about that. He's always going to take the pens. Michael tells us, good afternoon, guys. Super Scott McTominay to score any time is the play. For Michael, Millwall against Watford next up for us, Jack. Millwall minus 103 now. Watford plus 245. The tie plus 215. This is another game you can watch stream live on the Bet Rivers app here. I've sort of sided with unders, but it's a bit more of a lean. I think your plays is a very solid play if it's still there, Jack.
Yes. This is something of an anomaly, we should call it.
This is a quirk of the Asian line.
It is indeed. It is indeed. So as you can see there, minus 103. I've just got onto the Bet Rivers website, and it's now minus 106 for Millwall, who I fancy. I fancy them to win tonight. I'll come into the reasons why in a moment. But as you should always do, make sure you scroll down, take in everything that Bet Rivers has to offer, because once you get to the bottom of that page, you'll see the Asian handicap. And here we've got Millwall at minus 0.5, which is in essence, they just need to win. That's exactly what it is. And they're plus 104. So we're getting a little bit extra juice there by just playing the Asian handicap rather than going straight in.
It's always worth checking because there are those anomalies, as you say, across the different markets. Always worth checking. Sorry, go on.
So like I said, that's quite a big difference, isn't it? Minus 106 now to plus 104, and that's a fair little bit of extra you're getting. So I think for me, Millwall, I watched him in the flesh earlier in the season. Get everything you expect from them. Super hard working side. They've really bought into Alex Neil, what he's doing there. A really shrewd championship manager. Done it at Norwich. He's done it with Sunderland in League One. He's done it and got the T-shirt ready. He's done really, really well. Got them so close to the playoffs last season, just fell short. And that was built on a really strong home record. They ended the season in great style at home last season. They won their last 6 there as well. As I say, they just fell short, 2 points short in the end of making the playoffs. And so they are a threat. They've not started very well at home this season, which is a real quirk. But I think that's why we're getting the price. Someone's also mentioned about the injuries. I've not got full details on who will be out and who won't be out on that one. It's obviously something I'm still digging around, and you'll pick up some information over the next coming hour or two. But it's not enough to put me off Millwall, because Watford aren't the best. And again, away from home, they were horrific at the back end of last season away from home. They've not started that well this season either. And I say, you look at the league table and you see Millwall down in 16th, but a win tonight could take them up as high as 7th. So they'll have lots of motivation to play for this. And I think they'll look at Watford as going a side that they can get stuck into and beat. They've also got, goes without saying, really, Watford have got a new manager at the start of the season. So they might well have a new one after this game as well, how things go. But I say they lost their last 7 on the road, including all those at the back end of last season as well. But one element, having seen how Millwall play and know what they're like, which really has kind of pushed me again. We're talking about this, where the value is. I feel the value is on Millwall. Watford are really poor at defending set pieces. They've conceded 3 set piece goals already this season. Only Coventry have conceded more in the Championship than that. And Millwall are a massive threat from set pieces. So I'm taking Millwall on that minus handicap, minus Asian handicap, half a goal handicap at plus 104. But there's 2 player props that I do like. Alfie Doughty, who is a fantastic crosser of the ball. Brilliant, on set pieces, maybe on their free kicks. I think they've bought him predominantly for the fact that that's what he brings to the table. He'll also get on down that left-hand side and get crosses in from open play as well. He's plus 600 to assist, which I think is a huge price.
Massive.
Because I could see Millwall scoring a few goals in this. There's the possibility they can score a few goals in this tonight. And to go with that, alongside that, I've gone with Jake Cooper, who's their 6'5" beanpole, big, tall, aggressive centre-back. He's plus 1050 to score any time, which is a massive, given what Watford's weaknesses are. And he's plus 330 for a shot on target. And we're going down that same route. We've gone down with Lacroix. And let's hope we don't hit the bar this time. We actually get one in. So either way you want to play it, if you want a little bit of, say, loose change on Cooper to score, he's plus 1050. If you want to go something a little bit more likely, I suppose you'd say, plus 330 for a shot on target. But that Doughty assist would be my top prop for the night.
Doughty assist and Cooper shot on target, anytime goal scorer. Those are the Those are the two. So if you want a prop bet in the Millwall Watford game, those are the two. Effie says, assuming the weather in Millwall is reasonable, over 1.5 goals second half at Millwall. It's south of the river, Effie, and I generally avoid South London if I can. I know Nigel's south of the river, but he's not really London. He's a bit further. I try not to go on West London these days. Effie, South London for a long time, but not these days. Duncan says, got through the Pisa match preview without any leans pumped. We've done it every single European show so far, and I've banned it on the show. We're not doing it again. Barrick, many injuries for Millwall? No, there are players out in Millwall and Watford for that matter. I had a quick look at the team news. There was just a big long list of sort of doubtfuls or whatever. I still like Millwall. I don't think Watford create enough. I was looking at their sort of expected goals, and I think they've been a bit fortunate to score as many as they have. I really like Millwall on Jack's play here. Shane talking about something that Effie's just addressed there about cards in the game. Yeah, if you feel that it's a loser, you need to try and redress that. Yeah, I mean, I've just checked there. It was 7 yellows and 2 reds. So if you're playing on just total cards, then I tend to think that's probably a winner at 9. I'm not quite sure what's happened there, Shane. But yeah, try and get your money on that one. That is Millwall against Watford. It's another game that's streamed live on the site. 86% the money and 70% the tickets on Millwall. 55% the money, 65% the tickets on the overs. Both teams have scored a failed hit in each of the last 5 championship night matches between Millwall and Watford. I know that there was overs on both of the games last season. Sporting Moreiense next. We have got a little bit of business to conclude after that with some sharp picks on Galatasary and on the 2 Sweden games that Steve has handed to me, but a little bit more of an in-depth preview for the final time with this one. I only included it because Jack was very good on the Portuguese game on Friday night, giving us the winner. So let's see if we can pick a winner for you here. I thought this was pretty tough. Sporting are ridiculously short at minus 530. Moreiense at 12-1. The tie plus 550 here. How are we tackling this Primera Liga game tonight? 3:15 Eastern kickoff, Jack.
Yeah, we're going to go goals. Obviously, we've looked to try and get Sporting on side. The routes we've already talked about tonight, half-time, full-time, I wouldn't put you off. The win to nil, possibly. I think that there's a chance they might concede. So I was tempted to go down the route of like the both teams to score there, plus money. That looks like a bit of an appealing one.
I like that one. I like it.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, just quickly, there's only a 10% chance of rain this evening in Millwall. There we go. That's the weather watch done for you.
Bermondsey.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. It's beautifully sunny, shiny here in Essex. So I'm sure it's going to be absolutely great down there in Bermondsey. So, right. Anyway, back to Portugal. And I just think, look, Sporting minus 530 here. You've got to be expecting them to do very well in this game. They've won 5 of their first 6 matches. The only game they've lost this season so far was that one against Porto. So again, we mentioned it on Friday, when those 3 sides kind of play each other, it's not a bad idea just to draw a line through that when they're playing other sides and go, right, what can we expect from it? I think you look at Moreiense, they've made a positive start. They've done pretty well at the start of the campaign so far. So there will be a bit of confidence. Someone else we mentioned at the weekend, where a side maybe a little bit normally inferior have got a bit of confidence, but they do usually struggle against those top three, and that's the form line I've drawn on this one. Looking at Sporting on like a -2 handicap, you think, well, are they going to win by 3 to cash the ticket?
Yeah,
Looking at those other areas, and I'm thinking, not so certain. They won 3-1 here last season, so I was thinking, well, obviously you'd only get a refund on that after a good win. Over 2.5 Sporting goals, that was another way in. I was looking at that, but you think even that itself, you go, that's still quite a, do I expect them to score 3? Probably do, but that still seems, I don't really like going that high up in these sort of games. But bearing in mind, Moreiense beat them 2-1 in the reverse fixture last season, so they've got that little bit of edge. But yeah, the Sporting have clearly scored lots of goals this season. They smashed 6 past the Ruka at home as well. You look at the other schools there, that Porto one was a push. The Champions League game they had, that was a clear winner. But the key line that I looked at was last season when Moreirense went to those top 3 sides. They lost 3-1 to Sporting. They lost 3-1 to Porto. They lost 3-2 to Benfica. So they've scored goals in all those away games at those big 3. They've conceded 3 goals in every single one as well. But not one of them would have cleared that handicap. The Asian 2 pushes and a loss there for those 3 big sides against them last season. So that's kind of where I've kind of ruled out certain things and ended up landing on a toss-up between over 2.5 Sporting goals or over 3 Asian total. And I think the 3 Asian total was a much safer option because we get a refund if there's exactly 3 goals. And we can have both teams come to the party as they did, as I said, in those 3 games, similar games last season.
Just wheeling back, Sea of Green says Alfie Dowsey been out with a hamstring injury since they lost to Borough. Okay. Is he back, or do we know? Do we not know?
Well, no, I'll take that that was an oversight on my part. I'll go with that from Sea of Green. He seems very confident on that one.
Do you know what? I knew he was out earlier because I think we might have even talked about him on one of the shows earlier this season. But I don't know how long he's been out. I've just had a quick check and they've just said he looks like he's going to be out for a little while. But that was a few weeks ago, the quote that I've got. He is one to keep an eye on when he's back, that's for sure.
Yeah. I must admit, it was just a case of I had a quick look through the props before I was coming on, I must admit, and that price just stood out because of knowing him. But I must admit, I didn't do enough diligence there. So thanks. That's why we've got these great commenters coming into the show.
It's one of those ones though that obviously they keep pricing him up, Bet Rivers, and if he gets forgotten about, obviously it's going to be difficult for him to come back and assist straight away, and you might see him on as a substitute. But just keep your eye on the price. Sea of Green sounds like you're across him anyway. Effie says leans both teams to score at Sporting plus 123. That is my lean on this one. I looked at 1 or 2 goal scorers, and Luis Suarez is Gyökeres's replacement. They signed him from Almeria, who were a Segunda side last season, got 27 goals in the second tier in Spain last season, cost 22 million. He's never been a regular goal scorer in any top division he's played in. He's played in Spain, he's played in France briefly for Marseille. He is on penalties. He's got 3 goals this season, but minus 137 is short. The one player that I sort of half-liked was Pedro Gonçalves, who's plus 163 to score at any time. He's a midfielder, plays a little bit further forward, missed games with injury last season. He's got 4 in 5 this term, and he tends to score in clusters, 6 in 10, 6 in 9, 3 in 4, 8 in 6, those sort of games. If you look at all his career, he's one that I had a look at, but at plus 163 is not really that much value. And then I just started, and this is a bit of a theme from yourself, Jack, and indeed 1 or 2 of our commenters here as well. I think Moreirense can score here. They scored against Sporting last season in this fixture. They scored in their home game against Sporting as well. They scored away at Benfica last season. They scored at Porto last season. So, they're the big 3 in Portugal. They had a change of manager in the summer for sure, but arguably they're a better side. They've started this season well. Heading into the weekend, they were 3rd. They've had a positive start to the season. It's plus 112 for Moreirense just to score. So you could play both teams to score, which is a little bit bigger, plus 123 as Effie points out. But then if Moreirense go and win 1-0 and somehow shut out Sporting, you'd be absolutely driving yourself mad, wouldn't you? Yeah. I'd rather play plus 112 just to score. The other one, they found a goal scorer. Go on.
Yeah, no, he was the guy. I assume the guy you're now going to talk about.
Yeah, go on. Guillaume
Go on, no, go on. Yeah, you hit me with it.
Shettin, I'm going for.
Yep.
It may well be
Yeah,
something
that's
different.
why I took a back seat.
Yeah. I looked at his stats. He's a 29-year-old Brazilian journeyman who's never really been particularly prolific, but suddenly he's scoring for fun. There's no shot on target market that I can see. And he is plus 475, is he, to score at any time? Let's just quickly get that back up. Yeah, plus 460. It was 475 was looking. If you look at his stats when he started games, right? If you look at his just when he started top flight games in Portugal, which is 64 occasions, so forget his substitute appearances, just when he starts, and he's starting at the minute because he's banging form. He scored in 20 of those 64 games. 31% implied probability, plus 220 in terms of odds. He's plus 460. The problem is, obviously, most of the goals, in fact, all bar one, have come against teams other than Sporting, Porto, or Benfica. So I don't really think he does it against the big teams. But if you wanted a little bit of fun, he'd be my play.
He looks a bit of value, doesn't he? And you want to roll with your Portuguese goal scorers after Friday night.
I'm flying. After Sam scored on Friday night. Money line. Most of the money's come on Sporting and on the overs. It is another game that you can watch on the Bet Rivers app. Sporting have won each of its last 9 Premier League home matches against Moreiense. So if you're looking at the handicap, that's one. Both teams to score has failed to hit on Moreirense's last 4 Premier League matches as an underdog. Over 2.5 goals mark he's hit in each of Sporting's last 4 Premier League matches. So just 1 or 2 stats regarding that one. We're going to wrap things up with a little bit of quick fire. First of all, from Jack, who has got to play in a game that starts in about, an hour and a quarter. This is the Galatasaray game. Jack, what have you got for us?
Yeah, simple one. Another one where we've got a massive, massive favourite here. Minus $5 and a bit more for Galatasaray to win this one. We obviously expect them to turn up and roll Konyaspor over. While we can be back at minus 530, we're not. But so they're in an excellent league form. 5 straight wins for them to start off. 4 came with clean sheets, so you can probably tell where we're going to go here in exactly the same way that Dan's pointed out earlier. And I just think this is such a massive price differential for a side that don't concede many goals. We talked about Pisa earlier, not scoring many. Well, Galatasaray just don't really concede any. So 5 wins in the league this season, 4 clean sheets, and Konyaspor generally, as a lot do, struggle against going to those better sides and going to Galatasaray. So I think Gala will keep it very tight, will shut out here, and you're going to be shocked if they don't win it. So plus 107 for a win to nil, I think is a massive price when you're looking at a $5 favourite. As I said, 4 win to nils already this season. The last 10 on home soil, they've won 9 of them. 7 of those wins have come to nil. They won the home head-to-head in each of the last 5. 4 of those came with a win to nil, including the last 2. So I just think that is a huge gap. And someone's pointed out just at the bottom there about Gala being a trap tonight on the handicap. But we're getting around that. We don't need a huge win, just need a win, and for it to come with a clean sheet.
There you go. If he says Gala game a trap tonight, +2 on the visitor is the way to play. Look, Gala can win 1-0. We'll take that all day long for a win to nil. Ian says parlay for today. We'll just have a quick check back at what we've said. Is there a parlay in there? Real Brendan King says, since we're talking about Primera, quick thoughts on Mourinho going to Benfica. I'd love to see him return to a top 5 league, but I feel that's never gonna happen. Should have waited for the West Ham job, says Ming. I've backed Benfica to win the league. I know Porto have won all their games so far. I've backed Benfica, so I'm hoping he can work his magic. I don't know. I think that, for all his bluster saying that he's won European competitions in the last 5-6 years, is it with United and Roma? I think he's not a busted flush, but I wouldn't really see him as a top manager anymore.
I was interested. I actually listened to a piece on this yesterday on TV here in the UK where they were chatting to 2 or 3 different journalists about it, and one was very negative about Mourinho, saying that he is now not box office, he's not even back office or something like that was his quote, but it was like basically slamming him, saying he's got zero interest in him, and then the contradicting argument of that, which he's a divider of opinions, isn't he? Really, you either love him or you hate him, and they go, no, we still want Mourinho around because he still does offer you those moments. You expect he's going to go and do well at Benfica. Is he going to go and get them to the title. Every chance, I think, probably, to be fair. I think he knows he's got a very good chance there, putting his name back. I didn't think he'd be able to get back in Portugal, go back to Portugal after his time in Porto, but I think that move to like Turkey was the one that kind of brought him back on the radar for thankfully he's not going to be in those big leagues and he's available. So yeah.
First Champions League match for Jose, of course, is?
Yes, it is, isn't it? It's
Chelsea away.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. So
yeah,
that is going to be an interesting one. It's just how it works out sometimes. Steve Wiss, in his wisdom, texted me earlier today, and he said if you're playing the Swedish matches, top flight games, they're both live on the app. He said to me, both games over 2.5 goals, especially the Varnamo match, based on the theory a desperation of both bad teams to get a result at this stage of the season. So if you're playing the Swedish games, top flight Swedish games, both games over 2.5 is Steve's selection. Steve's put up Son LAFC. If anyone bets that market, he has been making money for Steve in Major League Soccer. He started his career pretty well.
Yeah, he was plus money last night to score. I was on that, and against the side that he scored a hat-trick against about a week ago or something like that. It was mad to see that price available. So yeah, take advantage of it. Good shout, Steve.
What are we putting up for a parlay? Ian wants a parlay. Can we scramble together a parlay? I mean, I think Napoli to 0. I mean, we're playing sort of like props and Asian lines, so it's difficult to suggest one really. I mean, my best bet, for what it's worth, I think Napoli to 0 is an absolute gimme tonight for the game in Serie A. Jack, what is your best play of the evening?
I'm going to go goals in Sporting actually, as to put forward for that parlay.
Over 3.
Over 3 Asian total. Yeah, it was minus 129. I don't think I gave the price, but if you really want to water it down, we've obviously mentioned some sides we expect to win and having to take them on in other areas, haven't we? We talked about Napoli and Galatasary and Sporting. Possibly look at those watered down lines on that if you want to put a parlay of winners together at short odds to get you around about just over plus money.
Yeah, you can certainly do that for sure. Real Brandon King says, good shout, Steve, from Linia Marino to the MLS one day. Yeah, potentially. Steve Greger says, they say our dogs are a mirror image of their owners, and Doris Shaw has Calvert Smile. We're talking about Shawnee here. Is he the latest betting zoo man? He must be
coming up. He's had to get a dog in specially just so he could appear on the show. I haven't seen Sean Smile, so I can't tell you if they are similar or not.
yeah.
Only joking, Sean.
Only joking, Sean. I'm sure he's watching. That wraps it up for today. Don't forget, we've got Tennis Live coming up pretty soon. Lots of content over the course of this week. Got Europa League, got La Liga midweek as well. Premier League at the weekend, of course. We'll endeavour to try and get closer to breaking even. The fight back, Jack, starts now. Thanks for your company, mate. What are you up to for the remainder of the week? Are you back on the live show at all?
No, it's me done now. That's it. Yeah, I've started the week, and that's it. Yeah, so now it's all about getting into the books, as they say, or on the screen for getting that Premier League bounce back that you're talking about.
Let's hope so. That's Thursday. Ryder Cup, incidentally, as well this weekend. We're going to get Simon on the show. Mm-hmm. He's been flying. Tipped up Alex Noren to win at Wentworth the other day. That's coming away on Thursday.
Exciting weekend.
Yeah, it's a really good betting week. Many thanks to everyone who's tuned in. That is your lot for today. Have a very good Monday. Hopefully, will be a profitable slate for one and all. We'll see